Hello! How are you doing today? I am so excited to share with you today 3 very powerful tips that helped me and my family find healing through connection. And, the story that I want to share with you is, and I'll touch on it a little bit, is several years ago, as many of you know, in 2010, we lost my baby brother to suicide. And it's really taken me a long time to be able to start talking about it because it's such an awful thing to have to go through. But these questions that I'm going to share with you are not just relevant to tragic loss. You can use them every single day. You can use them when you're just feeling stuck or when you're feeling disconnected, or if you just need a little more clarity. Like, these are super powerful questions that you can ask anytime that you're feeling that way. So the story real quick. So last year, or in 2010, it was about a week after my brother's funeral, and my family all got together because it was Christmas Eve a week later, and we were all getting, we had already planned to get together for a gift exchange and whatnot, and of course, in that moment, everything just felt hollow. It just felt pointless. And so, as we sat around in a group with my family, just avoiding eye contact, because we didn't want to start the stream of tears after that loss, one of my sisters whispered really weakly. She said, "What?" And then we kind of looked at her like, oh, somebody's going to break the silence. What is she going to say? She had our attention. And she kind of mustered up a little more confidence. And then she asked us a little more confidently, she said, "What are you guys learning from this? What have you learned from this?" And as soon as she said that question, my first response, my initial gut reaction was like, how could you ask what are we learning through this? Because this is just awful. We lost our brother. I kind of was battling in my mind like, what is there to learn? I mean, this sucks, and when we're in that place of pain and we feel stuck, it's really hard to shift that mindset and say, well, what am I learning here? Because of what we want and what we feel like what we have lost. And so it was interesting to see how everyone in my family just started perking up like, well, I learned that, and the things that we shared with each other. Somebody had shared that, I learned that he was probably a lot more lonely than we thought. And I have felt that way too. And we're all like, what? You felt lonely? Like, how could you feel lonely? And meanwhile, this just kind of cracked open the dynamics of my family and helped us realize, wow, we have been very much alone together, and maybe we need to connect better and be really vested in each other's progress and what people are doing in life and what you're up to. And so that first question, what are you learning from this, has been so powerful. I've taken it all the time when I'm feeling stuck, when I fail, which happens all the time. When I make mistakes, I think, okay, what am I learning from this? Because there is always a lesson to be learned. There's always a task that can be done. And that question, that simple question that day years ago when we were in that place of pain, prompted lots of stories about my brother and his life and things we learned from him just being alive, being part of our family. And so pretty soon we were laughing, we were crying, and it just really opened up a safe place for healing. So what are you learning from this is a super powerful question that I continue to use. Now, the second question is, what am I resisting? And, so if I go back to that place, after having lost my brother, a friend of mine, I call her my Idaho mom. She knows who she is. She was the first person I called. She lived nearby. She just came and she held me as I cried. And I lived in Idaho. My family lived in Utah. There's nothing I could do in that moment. And I was just bawling my eyes out. And after she had been with me for several hours, I said, I don't think I can face my kids. They're going to get home from school. How can I tell them this? And I don't want to go to church on Sunday. I don't want to face everyone and have them ask me, how are you doing, Charity? Well, of course, this is awful. I don't want to answer that question. And she grabbed me by the shoulders and looked me in the eyes, and she said, the thing that you're resisting, I don't remember how she said it, the thing that you're resisting is exactly what you need. You need to face your kids and tell them the truth. They can handle it. And you need to be with people who love you. And if they ask you, how you're doing, it's okay for you to cry and feel how you're feeling. Like, don't resist it. You really need to embrace that. And so that has been a very powerful question. What am I resisting? And, that also applies to motherhood and business and, different, we wake up in the morning and sometimes you feel like, there's something in the back of your mind and you just keep resisting, you keep pushing it away. You've been there, right? You know what I'm talking about. I do that. I do that often, not as often as I used to, but when there's something that just kind of keeps nagging at you and you're resisting, what you resist will persist. So as soon as you turn to it and say, okay, I am resisting talking to that person. I am resisting making this phone call. I am resisting feeling how I feel. As soon as you embrace that and give it a space to flow through you, it will flow and you'll find a solution. So the second question is, what am I resisting? Now the third question is, how can I love myself through this? Anytime that you're feeling disconnected, anytime that you're feeling lonely, or you're feeling like, this person didn't do this and therefore I am feeling this way, we can't wait for other people to fill our cup, because they won't. They can't read our minds. And they also have their own agenda. And so if I'm expecting certain things of other people, they're going to fall short. And I have to own those expectations. But if I'm starting to feel very frustrated with others or with myself, I need to step back and say, okay, how can I love myself through this? And how can I love my family or my coworkers through this? And what you'll find is sometimes you're like, man, I just need a nap today. I'm pretty cranky. Or I need to go take a bath. Or you might feel like, I just have so much on my mind. Maybe today I just need to write down and get this all out of my head so that I can feel more clear in my mind. What are those things that you can do to show yourself a little more love? As women, we tend to pour into everyone else's cup and we forget that we are part of the community too. And so it's important to fill our own cup. And so asking yourself, how can I love myself through this, is a super important question to ask as well. So the 3 questions to sum up, the questions are, what am I learning from this? What am I resisting? And how can I love myself through this? And those 3 questions have helped my family and me personally get through a lot of crap in our lives, and a lot of different trials that we faced, and these are just super powerful questions that I encourage you to lean into, jot them down, put them on your mirror in your bathroom, so that if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling down or disconnected, just go to these questions and you'll find that it'll help you move through those feelings and those emotions and help you find some clarity and peace in your heart. So I would love to hear from you if you test out these questions, or if there are other questions that you have that you ask yourself to help you. Please share. These 3 questions are not the only answer. You have your experience that you can share as well. And I think as we continue to learn from each other, there's so much power in learning together. And so I invite you to share what works for you, and share if you've used these questions before, or if you end up trying them out. Let me know. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I hope that you're doing well during this quarantine madness, and that you are finding ways to still connect with others, because that's super important and super needed. Have a great day. See ya.